Today's conversation is one that holds so much weight, beauty, and sacredness. We're talking about midwives, the women who catch life, who stand at the doorway between heaven and earth, and who carry centuries of wisdom in their hands. Midwifery is not just about bringing babies into the world. It's about bringing mothers into their power, families into their strength, and communities into their legacy. And let's be honest, birth doesn't just shape the body, it shapes the mind, the spirit, and the mental health of the mother and family. In a world where maternal health disparities still take too many lives, especially for women of color, midwives are not only healers, but also advocates, protectors, and truth tellers. They are often the first to notice when a mother is not only physically struggling, but also emotionally burdened or silently battling postpartum depression and anxiety. This episode, Catching Life, the Power, Wisdom, and Heart of a Midwife, is about honoring that sacred role. We're diving into the calling, the challenges, the beauty, and the impact of midwifery, not just as a profession, but as a ministry of care, a bridge between past and present, and a light for the future of maternal and mental health. So let's step into the space with reverence, with curiosity, and with deep respect as we hear the story and wisdom of a woman whose work literally catches life itself. You made it. Take a seat, take a deep breath. Let's step into this moment with intention. I'm your host, Selah, a wife learning to love with intention, a mama growing through grace, and a therapist walking others towards healing and wholeness. This is a space where we breathe deep, unpack gently, and rise with purpose. Today, I have the honor of welcoming Tabitha, better known as Tabby, to the podcast. She's a passionate certified professional midwife based in Mesquite, Texas, and a proud mother of 3 teenage daughters. Born and raised in the Stop 6 community of Fort Worth, Tabby's journey into birth work is both professional and generational. From childhood, she dreamed of being a baby doctor, a vision her grandmother spoke over her life. What she later discovered is that midwifery truly runs in her blood. Her great-grandmother was a trusted midwife in her Mississippi community, a legacy that continues through her work today. Abby began her path in 2018 as a Donna-trained doula, supporting more than 100 births in hospitals and out-of-hospital settings, even during the height of COVID. That season revealed her deeper calling to midwifery, and she pressed forward with determination, earning her associate degree in health science and midwifery in December 2024, passing her ANARM exam in April 2025, and becoming fully licensed in Texas. Along the way, she attended nearly 100 additional births and trained with some of the most respected midwives and OBGYNs in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Her heart for families extends beyond routine birth care. Tabby is also a bereavement and VBAC cesarean support specialist, known for her compassionate presence in both joy and grief. She's now pursuing her bachelor's in nursing at Arizona College with a long-term goal of becoming a certified nurse midwife and nurse practitioner, bringing holistic, woman-centered care to the unrepresented communities, including the very neighborhood where she grew up. Outside of midwifery, Tabby is an avid homeschooler who pours into her daughter's education, leads workshops for young girls, and serves faithfully in her church. Whether through sewing, crafting, or mentoring, her life reflects a deep commitment to nurturing others and creating spaces of care and empowerment. It is such a joy to introduce Tabby, a woman carrying legacy, passion, and purpose in every step of her midwifery journey. Welcome, Tabby. We are glad that you are here. Now that we have set the stage, I want to bring to our listeners directly into the heartbeat of your work. Can you share in your own words what truly it means to be a midwife? Not just the role, but the calling behind it.
Well, when we sit there and we break down the word midwife, it literally means with woman, right? So just for myself, it's being trusted and pretty much like honored enough to sit in these women's like spaces during one of the most intimate times of their lives and to just on top of holding their hand and guiding them through and giving them direction and all that. At the same time, a midwife's job is to also keep the mother and the baby safe and ensuring that we are in that threshold of what's considered normal in Western society. So my aspects of what a midwife is, and that is honoring that ancestral and spiritual side at the same time, having the skill sets and the knowledge and experience to, catch the mom or catch the baby when something steps out of the realms of normal. So I feel in a nutshell, being with the woman at the same time, having that skill sets to keep both mother and baby safe and for a good delivery and birth and postpartum.
Yes. And that's beautiful because you describe it feeling less of a job, right? It's more like that ministry. And I could hear it as you're sharing that story, how passionate you are to serve the community and you taking your role very seriously. And that's important, for a mom to feel like, wow, I could see that my provider, my midwife loves her job. So I know she has my back,
Yeah,
right?
I know definitely since COVID, right? Doulas, midwives, home births, and all that has been like the trend. And even if we look back in just history, how the profession of midwifery has been taken from specifically Black and Hispanic cultures and then flipped and sent through like a little rinse cycle and all that and has been, whitewashed. But looking through my own history, finding out that my great grandma was a grand midwife in rural Mississippi. When I actually stepped into this and be like, hey, this is something that is really for me, I feel like it's not only a career path in that, but it's actually I feel like it's, a calling, all praises. It's just something that it comes natural, I feel. And then just having the skill sets and the knowledge to, see a mother through her preconception months and years to now pregnancy and then now celebrating like the joy of bringing forth life and all that. Not only is it a calling and is a blessing to be it, but I feel honored just to even be considered like a midwife.
Yeah, it's a very special role. And as you share that, I can't help but think about how our grandmothers and ancestors, and you were going into that a little bit earlier, how the women who caught babies long before hospitals and titles yet carry divine wisdom in their hands. So, how do you see midwifery as a bridge between ancestral knowledge and today's medical world?
I see it so it's twofolded. It's twofold. Just being in, and especially myself, just knowing that, that medical side and all the things that could go left or absolutely wrong and all that, and then just walking that fine line of at the end of the day, it's all of the Most High's will, right? When we look at midwifery today, trying to push against the medical complex and the Western society and all that, there's actually room for both the ancestral side of it, having the knowledge, having that intuition, because I'm telling you that intuition, certain things kind of scares you sometimes,
Yeah.
but there is room to have and respect and honor the ancestral side of midwifery at that same time, bringing about in a sense, like not all for like fully 100%, but also bringing about the skills and knowledge and all that from the medical complex side. So, a lot of things that we deal with today, we didn't really have back then, or we didn't know how to treat things like hypertension, gestational diabetes. They didn't have those names back then, right? We knew our diet, we knew what we were supposed to do. We respected the woman and the pregnancy journey of a woman, and we honored the postpartum side of it. So we didn't really have those issues that we see so much today. Granted, there were issues back then. However, it's not blown up to the proportion that we see it as today because we don't take the time to truly have a woman sit down and feel loved and upheld by her community and all that. And then giving her that support and the love and the family, really the whole family, giving them that love and that support and the like food and all those things during the postpartum years.
Mhm.
Today, we more so see women like getting up and going 3 days after she done had a baby, and that's not feasible at all. But unfortunately, the society that we live in, a lot of our women have to do that.
Yeah, yeah. And I like that you pointed that out because it's important to note that, in other words, culturally, right, back then, like you said, is having to rest a certain period of time, community coming together, right? A collaborative effort where we've kind of swayed away from it, right? Like you said, with society, changes in society. And it kind of just reminds me briefly that story, right? Like how midwife didn't just come out like, a new role. It's been for centuries, for years, and I think we could learn that in the role of Pooh and Shifra, right? In the Bible of birth workers. So I think it just adds to the value of like, hey, this role has been here for so long and it's very valuable and how we could bring it back into today.
Mhm.
And with going with that, birth is not only physical, it's deeply spiritual, emotional, and cultural. And when you step into that sacred space that you describe, you carry all of it with you. So, what does power look like in the birthing room? Not power over, but power with, like with the mom, her body, the baby.
I think, and it could sound like, all mystified and hooty dooty and all that, but I really think that power in the birth space is having that ability to surrender to it, to surrender to the unknown, especially first time moms or mothers who have had traumatic experiences with their previous births, and now she's done with this whole new route that is unknown to her. I see surrendering definitely as the hugest power that anyone can ever have because it's such a thin veil when it comes to birth and that walking that fine line of literally life and death for mother and for baby, and having that sense of at the end of the day it's going to be what it's going to be, being able as a woman being able to fully trust in her birth team. Um, and howbeit if some things may be off and all that, having that trust in her support group and then eventually having trust in the Most High or God or whatever her cultural norm is, having that trust in that higher being that she believes in. I feel like that is the greatest power that you can have in the birth setting and just in pregnancy in general.
Yes. And I know it's not always easy because in that same room, you hold joy, fear, loss, and miracles all at once. So that's heavy work. So, how do you care for your own heart and spirit while constantly pouring into mothers and families?
I'm learning. I will say that my own experiences, my own personal experiences with my births has helped me along in midwifery school, the ups and downs, and that has definitely helped me. And then leaning on the midwives that have been well established within my community and that the ones that I trust that I can call on and I can go to be like, hey, I feel like I kind of fudged something here. Can you like, help?
Mhm, mhm.
So I think self-care for myself and ensuring that at the end of the day that I'm good is having my own village, and my village is a mixture of people. So my village has two amazing sisters that I always go to. They're in birth work as well. So they know that, so if I sit there and I go to them and like, guess what this woman did today? Or, you know,
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
that, because sometimes we have some of those stubborn clients. I can go to them and vent in a way and then come back and be like, yeah, they did this, but at the end of the day, Tabby, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, yeah, I know. Then I have other people that are not in birth work, but they're like my spiritual mothers and my spiritual fathers who I can go to and be like, man, I done had this really, really hard birth and without sparing too many details, this is how I'm feeling about it, and they can give me that counsel and all that. And then I have my crazy cuckoo group that, we can go out and, get either like a massage or a drink or something to be like, okay, let me get my nerves down. So I think having a community of different people that you can like go to and lean on is definitely what's kept me afloat. And then I also think of my children, my girl, because I have 3 girls. I also think on what the reproductive health and reproductive justice is going to look like when they are married and having their own children. So that makes me take a step back and be like, let me make sure that I'm good. Let me make sure my health is good. Let me make sure that I'm not taking any births and that too hard and getting burnout or anything like that because I have to be good and show a better example for my girls and a better example for those aspiring midwives or even little girls who grow up to want to become OBs and all that. I want to make sure that I'm showing something and giving people a different perspective to make them sit back and be like, huh, I ain't thought of it that way. Let me flip some things because I'm always thinking of generation what's it going to be like for the next hand and what can I do today to ensure that my girls and my grandbabies and all that are gonna be good.
Yes, yes. And that's beautiful because it really something I always emphasize with moms in my practice is like, okay, yes, we're going to address what you came for, which is certain layers of trauma, abuse, or whatever it is. But we're also going to address all this other aspects of your life. You mentioned health, right? Other self-care practices, spirituality. So all these components that really needs to be considered, right? And I think that's a good example that you're giving because it really it gives in a sense of encouragement to moms too, of like, "Hey, we need to take care of every aspect of your life, so that way you are well."
And they don't tell you how hard it is to break
Yeah.
generational curses. They don't woof.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
I could go on a rampage on just being that one person in your family that decides to be like, "I'm not following this route no more.
Yes.
Let me go this way because I know at the end of the day, if I'm going this way, yeah, it's gonna be hard. People are gonna hate me. People are not going to understand. My own girls can sit there and be like, 'Well, why are we doing this?' But it's for the betterment of my lineage down the line."
And breaking those barriers of fear, right? The stigma, and we're gonna get into that too. But, it's really that fear that the system also has also put in us, in our communities, as women, in our capabilities of what our bodies are made to do. And that kind of goes into as well my next question. This brings me to a truth we can't overlook, which is maternal health care is not equal. And for women of color, representation in birth work can literally mean life or death. So, what barriers do women of color face in accessing midwifery care, and how does your presence as a midwife shift that narrative?
So people look at me crazy when I answer this question. Or when they or when they ask me like, "Hey, how can we put maternal and neonatal health and well-being on equal level fields of our counterparts and all that?" And my understanding of it is it shouldn't be equal. Before we just hold on with me, okay? Don't push the next button.
Mhm.
Because if you look at it this way, if I have 3 different moms birthing, we have one mom who's affluent. She has everything within her fingertips. She was able to get the doula. She was able to get the chiropractic care. She had the huge baby shower and the gender reveal and the mom nesting, and she did all these things, and she has everything set up for postpartum. Well, she's set, boo boo. Okay, she had time to sit there and go to the midwife that is the right person for her, and it took her 3 different midwives to go through, or 3 different practices to go through, but she knew she was alright because she can afford to sit there and fire that midwife or fire that OB and go find somebody for her. She built that because she has the means to do so. She goes on to have a beautiful birth, and fully, like, vindicated in that. And then we have the second mom who she had enough for midwifery care, but it was a certain budget. She couldn't get the birth photography, but she got a birth doula. She had to stay in the hospital, though. So it's a couple little interventions and all that. Then we have another mom, right? Medicaid. Um, just doesn't really know the whole background of birthing. It's just like, oh, just that everyone births and that. So this, I shouldn't have to go in like this. I don't need to spend money on this, or I can't spend money on this. So me coming in as the support person in that and looking at these 3 different women and trying to figure out what they need. Well, all of them don't need the same thing. Everyone needs something different. Maybe that first mom needs to be like, "Hey, you don't need to sit there and buy that $300 like stroller, or, just chill out." That's what she needs. She needs to know that she doesn't have to go out and get the most extravagant and the most expensive thing. But this mom over here, she doesn't have the means for it. She doesn't know about advocacy. She's been told that the doctors is always right, and I should need to do everything the doctor says. I don't have a voice in this because I'm not knowing. That's the one that's gonna need some more. And as far as my role in midwifery is, I try my hardest to meet the mom where they're at and then build upon that. So that's my goal, is just every woman that I meet, the clients that I have and all that, I want to meet them where they're at, meet them at their level, whether they're be, highly educated and, have all this, or, they may not be highly educated. They may have gotten a GED, may have not even finished school, but they know a little bit of something. So meeting them at their mat and then helping them to come up, to have safe pregnancies, to have safe and, beautiful birthing experiences, and then to even for postpartum to sit there and thrive, not just survive postpartum, but actually thrive and then set up something more for their future generations.
Yes, yes, and that is beautiful. And during those experience, have you ever witnessed or experienced an impactful or spiritual moment that stuck with you and still sticks with you till today during a birth that you were present?
I got a few of them, and I'm trying to think which one. There was one that was a 19-minute resuscitation for baby. That still is with me to this day. Praises that baby is good and healthy and thriving in that, but I always sit there and I go back and I remember looking at the mom's face and then being with the other midwife that I was with, trying to sit there and do every single thing, going through the whole steps of like NRP in my head. I did this, yes, I check box, da 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 da. Situation during the situation, it was just autopilot. Um, that one sticks with me that they stay with you. But there's also other ones that come in, like my VBAC mothers. I have a special place in my heart for my VBAC moms who've had that vindicated, like, birthing experience, or some of the other moms who have had not so great first or second or even third births, but then, they come over to me and we give them everything. We give them the tools, we give them all of that, and then it's just a night and day to them. And they're so, like, thankful and praying, like, they can't really, like, believe it, so those are the ones that kinda, like, carry me through. So I would say the hard births is what keeps me grounded and humble, because we can't all have butter births, like,
Mhm.
they can't all be beautiful, because the
Yes.
moment they're all beautiful and they're all easy, that's when we get kinda conceited and we think that
Mhm.
nothing's gonna happen, and
Yeah.
that's when it gets you. So those hard ones, they keep me humble and grounded, and they just kinda keep me prepared, and
Mhm.
then those easy or those successful or those, like, this woman done had a super hard pregnancy the whole time, but then she had got that beautiful, like, birthing experience where everything went just right and perfect, and she's, all over in love and all of that. Those are the ones that keep me like, Imma do this again. The reason why I'm up and in is because of that one right there.
You were just talking about the village, community a little earlier, right? Which is partnership and family dynamics. So when a baby is born, it's not just about the mother, as we know, who is transformed, but is a whole family stepping into something new. What role do you see fathers or extended family playing in the birthing process? How can they best support the mother at that time?
Oof. Fathers have such an important role, and they do not get enough credit. Our men do not get enough credit. Like, they didn't just put them in there. That, and if we even had time to sit there and go further, like, I mean, it's the reason why, we have issues like with pregnancy and all that. 'Cause fathers, first and foremost, definitely, I love to see fathers in, like, the prenatals, and I love to see them attentive. And then for women to sit there and actually give the men space to be a part of
Mhm.
it. 'Cause I guarantee you, even though he may act like, "I don't wanna do this," or it may not be his first, but it's his first with you, I guarantee you pull him along to these classes, you pull
Mhm.
him in these prenatals, and that they're going to be in it, and then I love giving them homework. Because it's the men that sit there and go above and beyond, and I'm over here looking at the women like,
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Yeah.
was like, "I already read through this book, ma'am, and you just still over here, shopping for baby and mom
Mhm.
outfits. Like, come on." But
Mhm. Mhm.
fathers, first and foremost, they're protectors and providers of the family. And when we women give men that space to do it, they flourish. I've seen a lot of men of, all different backgrounds and all that, once they're given that opportunity and given that trust in that to be a part of the birthing experience, I love seeing it.
Yeah.
I see the when you look at a man's face during the whole laboring process, you see the fear, you see the joy,
Mhm.
you see the moments of like, "Dang, I wish," he just wishes he can take a little bit of pain from
Mhm.
here and that. My role as the midwife is to sit there and give give that man the power to be like, "Hey, go over there and rub her back," or, "Hey, go pray for her, go anoint her because she's going through it right now," because that kinda loss is like, "I don't know what to do," like,
Yeah.
you and we as midwives and even doulas, we have that power to sit there and kinda, like, nudge them to be even better in the birth space.
Yes.
As far as extended families, I tell my families first off, don't sit there and have a whole bunch of different people at your birth space because, think of like if you can't poop in front of this person, they may not need to be in that area. You are, pushing out a whole human. But I have been in birthing spaces to where it's just myself, the assistant and the mom, and everything goes beautiful and that. And then I've been in other spaces, and it's more so my Hispanic culture, which
Mhm.
I they will have like 3 different generations all up in this room, and I'm over
Yeah.
this kid
They
is.
respect no boundaries. They're gonna be right there.
But I love it though because it's like a whole party and they over here like passing food and then
Yeah.
making sure we're fed, and I'm over here like, "No, because I don't need to be on the toilet." Like,
Yeah. Yes.
um, but whatever is comfortable for the mom and
Yeah.
what's ever going to give her that umph to get through the hurdles and that of labor and birth. We're gonna sit there and put this whole plan together. I also tell my parents to definitely make sure that the ones that are not gonna do anything for you may not need to be the ones that need to know that you're even in labor. So,
Mhm.
we all have those family members who, they just wanna come in and see baby. That's all they wanna do. They don't care about what mom is going through or what she has gone through. So, for my clients, my mommies, especially around the 36-week period, we have a sit down and and I'm just like, "Okay, I know you had them in your family, the ones that mean to do well, and they're gonna say they're gonna come over and help and all that, but all they wanna do is see baby. Baby is good. Like,
Mhm.
the only thing the baby needs is some diapers, milk, and a blanket. That's all they need. It's like, it's
Mhm.
you, the one that's healing. It
Yes.
takes your body up to 18 plus months to get back everything that you just lost.
Mhm.
It's you that needs the care and the love and to be swaddled in that. So when they do come or when they start asking to come, have a list out. Have a list with the reward systems. If the person comes over and they do a load of laundry, and I'm talking about they wash it, they dry it, they fold it, and they put it away, that's a whole hour with baby. Fine. If they come over with a hot meal, and I'm not talking about McDonald's, I'm talking like
Yes.
a real nutritious meal. That's 40 minutes with baby. If they come over and do dishes and all that, like do something to where they're coming over with a purpose, not just to be in your face, because we women have the innate like thing in us to like host when people
Mhm.
are over at our house.
Yes.
And during the postpartum period, the last thing that we need to be doing is hosting anyone. So make sure that people are coming over with a purpose.
Yes.
And if they don't know what to do, then tell them to go check the list on your refrigerator or on your front door or something like that.
Yes. And one of the things you were mentioning about fathers that I absolutely admire, and thank you for doing that because many providers do not. And we see it a lot in the hospital system, right? I'm not saying there's not some providers, but majority of the providers do not acknowledge the father. And it's very important to incorporate the father in that process. And it really does help decrease some stress levels. And granted, yes, maybe when you're having the baby, you don't want to be held or anything, but overall in that journey, their participation, it does help decrease that stress level, potentially, postpartum depression, developing and anxiety and all these things. So I wanted to highlight that thank you for doing that because again, not many providers,
Not re-
really bring them into that care system.
and not really too many people will acknowledge that our men get postpartum depression as well.
Yes,
They
exactly.
even get, depression during like this birth is unfortunately in our Western society, birth is put all up on the woman.
Mhm.
And I mean, I understand why, because we
Yeah.
have this persona of we'll go off and get pregnant, by any a random jar or know somebody for like 3-ish months and all that and then wind out. I get that. So when we have our men just like get have coming up in situations like this. Like, it kinda, like, takes away from the whole family dynamic of being married and
Mhm.
being established and then now having a baby or not even that, for a majority of people out here being in a committed relationship and having children and all of that. So, it's not really looked at as the men going through it
Mhm.
they do.
Yes.
And when you are being a provider and you're acknowledging the man and that they do more, I don't know, I don't wanna say men act like kids. I don't wanna say that. But when you acknowledge and when you speak life into men, like, they just, like, get this glow about them. They're just
Yes.
like, "Ooh, yes," like, "Let me do this," so she'll sit there and tell me
Mhm.
some more about myself.
Yeah.
It's not in a way, and then I learned it from other midwives and that as well, so I don't want anyone to misconstrue and think that I'm, boosting egos or anything like that. I'm
Mhm.
literally giving the man room to,
Yes.
do what he is supposed to be doing and
Mhm.
and do what he can do.
Mhm.
And then just even more so, also showing the woman at the same time, like, "Hey, he is interested in this," because a lot of times we don't sit there and ask them. We
Mhm.
assume versus that.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's really highlighting giving them that platform, like you said, they experience it too, and that is not talked about a lot, right, in society. And again, yes, women, we go through these things, but hey, we also have to recognize that they go through things too, and they need to be accounted for too. This journey, a hard conversation too, which is loss, fear, and trauma. We've been talking briefly about it today. But we can't talk about birth without also talking about the loss, fear, and trauma because those stories are also part of this journey too. How do you walk mothers through those fear, that loss, or difficult outcomes while still holding space for hope and healing?
I think, being alright with telling them I don't know, like, but Imma go find the answer, or just being okay with a lot knowing that a lot of things are not gonna have answers. I know when we go through miscarriages or, stillbirths and that we wanna know why, like, why exactly did this happen? What can I do to change it? Or even mothers out there who have had, like serial miscarriages and that, and they're just like, "Well, what else can I do?" And they're doing every single thing that you tell them. So, sitting back as the provider and as the midwife and just understanding that I'm not gonna have all the informations and being confident enough in yourself and letting the parents know that I don't know why this happened. But guess what? I'm going to sit there and hold your hand through this. I'm going to do anything that you ask of me within my strength. I've had and it makes me think about, mom right now whose baby was diagnosed with trisomy 18, and she's going through that right now with not trying to get all in the information and all that, and those were some of her things, like, "Why do I have to sit there and go through this when I've been through so much already?" And it was one of those, like it was one of those situations to where I wanna sit there and say something, but knowing and then just going through my own challenges and all that, that was a time where it was best not to say anything. And a lot of people need to sit there and realize that when women are going through miscarriages and stillbirths or fetal demise, or even just finding out about chromosomal disorders or anything like that, a lot of times if you don't have anything to say, or if you feel those cliche things coming up, like, give me some of what are some of the cliche things?
The statement sometimes people say, well, at least da 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 da, right?
Or, "Oh my god, why am I drawing a blank?" Because even when I hear them from other family members, I'd be like, "Oh my god, this ain't the one."
Mhm.
Uh, just silence. Just sitting there just being, just allowing her to get every single thing off her chest, allowing her to be mad because
Mhm.
the whole cycle of grief and all that, a lot
Yes.
of people look at it as, like, stair steps and all that, when really it just needs to look like a big donut, like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
constantly go through these things.
Exactly.
Allowing her to be angry and letting her know, like, "Look, I know you're angry. It's okay to be I'm angry for you." And
Mhm.
then allowing them to be sad, but also letting my moms know that after you've been sad, after you've gotten angry, after you done cussed out every single body and you done sat there and done projected this anger, even though it's understandable, once that's all said and done, let's start getting some solutions. And those solutions don't have to be like, we're going to sit there and find out the cure to this and all that. A solution is going to be simply being and then picking up the pieces and moving forward.
Yes.
Or because when we think of solutions, we think of like, okay, solutions equals a end result, something that is going to not be like the last time.
Mhm.
You know, when it comes to the mysteries of life and all that, it's not that easy. It's a lot more complex.
Yes, it definitely is. And you've basically been explaining it, but what do you wish more families and even the communities understood about maternal mental health, especially during, well, at any point, but during the postpartum journey?
I wish they understood that postpartum is just a period in a woman's life, and postpartum depression or postpartum mood disorders is something totally different.
Yes.
You'll see it on social media all the time. "I got postpartum, and it was just a horrible thing," and it's just like, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
so when we start defining it correctly, I
Yes.
think the postpartum period will have a lot more respect and a lot
Yes.
more of honoring and all that versus looked at like, "Ooh, it's postpartum."
Mhm.
And then knowing that it is okay to ask for help. It is okay to sit on the couch, all
Yeah.
right? And if needed, it is okay to sit there and go as far as taking medication if that's what you need. I tell people that's and they look at me kinda crazy like, "Oh my god, like you can." Listen, if to be completely honest with you, I've been through antepartum yeah,
Mhm.
or antenatal, I'm sorry, and postpartum depression.
Yeah.
I was the first in my family to even admit that I had, like, mental health disorders, and it was looked at so tabooly, like, "Oh my,
Mhm.
you actually went to a Yeah, I went to a therapist because
Yeah.
y'all crazy,
Yeah.
and I don't wanna be."
Yes. Yeah.
So I fully understand, and I even had to sit there and take the Zoloft,
Yeah.
during my 2nd pregnancy, and that's why it's such a my 2nd pregnancy is such a blur to me because I was on medication. I
Mhm.
unfortunately don't remember anything when I was pregnant with my 2nd one because it was just a autopilot. However, that medication helps me to put the symptoms at bay to really, like, dig down into, like, why is exactly I'm going through this? And that's what I tell people what SSRIs and depression medications are for. They're not to cure the depression.
Exactly.
They're to help you with the symptoms
Yeah.
so you can begin doing the groundwork and the healing to eventually come off of them.
Mhm.
But today's society, they look at, a pill is supposed to cure everything, and that's
Exactly. Exactly, and that's what I always explain when a client comes into my practice and they don't know, right? They're like, "Oh, I don't know about medication. I don't even know why I'm here." But that's what the education piece is necessary because, especially in the BIPOC community, we still have this stigma when it comes to mental health. Oh, we don't talk about it, or no, you're going to the hospital. Why you're taking medication?
that's a white man's thing.
Exactly, exactly. And even then too with the medication, again, it doesn't I always tell them, it does not take away the problem. That's why in therapy, we have to do the inner work and work on identifying the root of what's going on. And, with medication is going to help you alleviate some of those stressors, right? And the symptoms, but we have to do the inner work and work through all of that, whether it's the grief, the loss, lack of support, whatever it is. Or or the brokenness of the system in itself due to lack of resources as well. So which goes into my next topic of you're not just catching babies, you're also catching broken systems, policies, and structures that don't always honor mothers,
Mhm.
fathers, families, that's bold and necessary work. So, how do you use your voice not only in the birthing room, but in the larger fight for maternal justice and equity?
I think being a very stark reminder to people who they have like higher acclimates than me and bringing them down to like, hey, this is not just somebody on a chart that you need to fix or you need to correct. This is actually a person. This is a woman who is going through something and you need to step back and look at her as such. Also, going out to these nonprofits and getting them connected with OBs that I also am connecting with. When unfortunately I may have transfers for whatever, the reason may be, like during labor. It may be something as simple as the mom is too tired, and the one thing that's gonna get her over that hump is an epidural, or just baby's heart tones is, "I'm just not liking," or that intuition pops in, and it's just like, "Something is off, and we need to go."
Yes.
Staying with my moms, and that's one thing that I don't do as a midwife. If I do have to transfer, I don't just be like, "Okay, so long, call me when the baby's here," or anything like that. Like, I'm staying with you because you done went from the comfort of your home or the birth center, and now you're in an area where you didn't want to be in, or you didn't think that you were at, and now you have the hospitalist and the OBs and all that looking at you like, you tried to do this, but here I am having to save the day. I had to catch them real quickly, and like, "You're not saving the day." Like,
Mhm.
literally, she needed something more that we didn't have at home, and
Yes.
I am and I am knowing that, hey, this is something outside of my scope of practice, so that's why I'm coming to you that has a
Yes.
higher scope of practice to assist this woman here. You're not having a God complex with my mama.
Mhm.
So, continuing to be an advocate for mothers. When mothers reach out to me that are not my clients, because I get a lot of messages and calls and that from women from all over asking about things, or asking, "Hey, I got these labs," or something like that. Explaining it to them in such a way that they understand, and then giving the verbiage to go back to their OBs, to either ask further questions, or having them advocate for themselves, and that's where they're over here like, "You done sat there and talked to somebody." It's like, "Yeah, she done
Mhm.
talked to somebody that is," yeah. Um,
Yes.
Also not being pretty much being that fly on the wall in the hospital complex, but coming out and being like, "Hey, this one's wrong right here," or, "Hey, can we step outside and have a conversation?" So I think when they see me coming in this one hospital, they already know, but
Mhm.
it makes them stop and be aware.
Yeah.
And then also just going out, not just seeing them in the birthing space or anything like that, but actually going up to their office and saying, "Hey, I'm a community midwife and I want to collaborate and I want to, have, a OB that, I kind of fluff them up a little bit." That's one of my qualities. I fluff people up and to get where but speaking to them and letting them know that I'm not somebody rogue. I'm not somebody that decided to, take a microwavable course in catching
Mhm.
babies or anything like that. I went down a respectable route
Yeah.
to get where I'm at, and I want to collaborate with you to better the whole, like, DFW Metroplex where I am.
Yes, and it goes back into what we were just talking about earlier. Well, the networking community, but collaborating just like we're doing now, right? Bringing you in a platform where, again, there's that mental health piece, but it all ties in together and collaborating to make sure that mom is well,
You
right?
cannot you cannot talk about birth without
Yes,
talking about mental. Uh,
exactly.
the very first appointment that I have, the initial appointments that I have with my clients and even having consultations, I let moms know that, hey, I work on a three-pronged philosophy. I look at you as the body, mind, and spirit. Yeah, the body, I'm over here checking your vitals. We're doing labs and all that. But your mind, your mental piece, are you safe? Are you secure? Are you in a loving relationship? Do you have resources? And then emotionally, like, are you sane?
Mhm.
You have moments of craziness.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't sit there and just, work on people in one way. Like, it doesn't work like that. Same thing with medications for depression and
Exactly.
anxiety and all that. Like, it's more to it. Uh,
Yes.
and then letting people know, I tell it all the time, like, birth itself, the labor and delivery process, this is about 80% mental.
Yes.
And the rest is, maybe 15-20% physical.
Mhm.
I have seen births stall just because they have
Yes.
hangups, fear, or they have something that is gnawing on them, and we done sat there and did all this work during pregnancy and all that. You've been telling me you're fine and all that, and in the back of my head, I'm just like, it's something that she's hanging off to. And then here we
Yes.
are, she's reaching 42 weeks, and then now you tell me that
Mhm.
I have fear of X, Y, and Z, and it's just like, well, let's sit.
Mhm.
okay, let's and then after we get over that thing, then it's like, boom, she's over here, having contractions and that, so
For majority of the women can't do that or don't have that space to do so. They're bringing it, into labor and even during the postpartum journey.
and then that's where we get the quote unquote failure to progress, and we're being
Yes.
whisked off and that, and it's so unfortunate that a majority of emergency cesareans was not an emergency.
Mhm.
The fact that it took 30 minutes to set up an OR room, but it was an emergency. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And also even leading to, deaths
Mhm.
because just so many things.
Preventable. Prevent
Exactly,
a lot of
exactly.
a lot of our postpartum, the mothers that have passed postpartum, it was preventable.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
that's the horrible part of it. When I sit there and I see another one or someone tags me in another video and I'm just like, I just cannot. I don't have the mental capacity because it
Yeah.
was preventable. And then unfortunately, we as women need to sit back and be like, we gotta take accountability. We gotta take accountability. We will sit there and we'll go and get the matching outfits. We'll spend buku's amount of money on gender reveals and baby showers and all that, but a doula is too expensive, a midwife is too expensive. You are able to save up for those pair of J's,
Mhm,
but you can't save up and rack up coins and put money aside for the safety and wellness and well-being of, you and your child. So we have to step back and take accountability. And even if we're in birthing deserts, or let's just say that you don't, like you're on a super fixed income, you don't take a free childbirth education class. There's
mhm.
buku's amount of them out
Yes.
there. You don't we as women, we don't sit there and we do all that because we don't see the value in it.
Mhm,
Then that's where we get into these situations of my body wouldn't progress
mhm,
when really it was a malposition on baby and all you had to do was a couple of inversions or get some chiropractic care. Like,
mhm.
so
Yes, 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 exactly, exactly. And this brings me again to my next topic, training the next generation, right? We need more midwives, period. We need more women trained, especially women of color, to step into this sacred calling. So, what advice or encouragement would you give to young women considering being a midwife, or especially those who may not see themselves representing or represented in this field?
I would definitely say to get counsel before stepping into this field. We have so many people in this field, even though, I mean, I can sit there and rail on OBs all day long, but there are some really good ones out there. Like I collaborate with them. But we can look at doctors and all that, and you could tell off the bat when a doctor is actually passionate about his career and his job, and the ones that are just here because he's come from a long line of doctors and this is just the thing, or hey, I didn't know exactly what to do, but I like this right here. You can tell that difference. So midwifery is not for everybody. Even being a doula is just not for everybody. So definitely taking a step back and seeing, like, do I really want to be called at 2 in the morning every single time? Does my number one line in life going to be like, as long as I'm not at a birth, like, and then having that somebody to talk to in that field to give you the realness, because we can look on social media all day long and see the beautiful things. Like, you could look on my page and be like, "Hey, I done caught another one," or "Hey, look how long this cord is," or
Yeah,
"Hey, all that." And it's just more so of like gravitating people in to, find out about midwifery. But none of us are over here putting online the 19-minute resuscitations
exactly.
or the $1,500 in dues and all of
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
Like, we're not putting that side on online in that. So, first finding out if this is something that you really wanna do, then finding if you have that mental capacity for it, because the burnout is real. The divorce rate in midwives is sky high. I think it's 70%.
mhm,
The burnout, the lifespan of a midwifery career is about 5 to 10 years.
mhm.
And that's
Yeah,
what we're talking about today. We're not, because we don't put that honor and that respect on the midwife. Back then, our midwives were valued. I can go back to scriptures and it shows you that, hey, the midwives were taken care of.
mhm,
I'm a living testament to that today. Like, yeah, I'm not, super buku rich and all that, but I could go in my pocket and I have exact change.
Mhm.
And then being in school and all that, like, I've always had enough because I look at this field as something that I'm truly called to be in. Um, and because of that, and then putting my faith in God and, ensuring that I'm giving him all the praise and the honor. It wasn't me that sat there and saved that baby. That was, the Most High working through me. Like, come
Mhm.
on.
Yes.
Uh, it's definitely kept me grounded and kept me able to continue on doing what I need to do. Counsel, uh ensuring that you're made for this, and then also just having that mentor to keep you going. There's been so many times that I have quit up to 3 times a day, especially while in school and that, but had I not had the group of sisters and the group of women outside in the community to be like, keep on going, we're almost there. Yeah, you don't have that hard thing and all that." So those would be the main things I would tell the younger generation to look for. And then, always don't go straight off bat. I know it's glorified and all of that, but start out as a doula first, so you can get a taste of what this life is called, especially if you have young kids of your own, and have a household and have a husband and all that. Start out as a doula first. If that doesn't work for you and that, do a postpartum doula. Postpartum doulas, they got it. I'm not gonna say they got it made, but they can schedule that. Birth birth doulas and midwives, I wish we can schedule it. There's so many different routes to the birth field and birth work. At the end of the day, you just gotta find that right path that's going to align to you and call to you. Or they were chosen to not succeed in it to show you that I don't need to do that.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, some people are chosen in this field and they are chosen to show you exactly what
Yes.
to do.
Yes, that's powerful. So you've shown us that in this field it's not only about birth, but about life, legacy, mental health, and the sacred heartbeat of our community. So before we close, what message would you leave for mothers, daughters, and future midwives listening today? And you briefly were talking about it, but can you expand a little bit more?
What message to my moms?
Mhm.
I don't wanna be rude, take accountability, I don't wanna be rude. Definitely moms, I would say, as far as moms go, like, take that time to just know that pregnancy and labor and birth and all that is something that is not just it is done every day, but it's not done every day. You don't do it every day. So, honor it and really respect it and really get down to that understanding of, like, I'm really putting my body through something that if it was a man doing it, it would kill them.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
And then loving yourself enough to do right. So, and that's another thing with us women. We don't see that we don't love ourselves and we don't give ourselves enough of that care and that comfort that we would do to other folks to put ourselves in a position of having these beautiful and honorable birthing experiences, no matter the route that you go. I don't want to sit there and beat a dead horse and say, midwifery is the route to go because not everybody, midwifery is not for everybody. Not everybody is not qualified, but not everybody can have a home birth and being comfortable in knowing that. And just myself as a midwife, knowing that I shouldn't be promising births for somebody that is obviously meant to be in a hospital complex. That's why we have these things.
Yes.
So for my moms, I would say definitely taking time to honor the fact that you have been blessed with a mighty task that is so beautiful and so timeless. It is it is something that only we're able to do. And then loving yourself enough to making it there. For the younger generation, not to be a follower, okay? And then just in giving yourself time to sit there and grow and learn and know about yourselves, know the capabilities of our bodies, and knowing how to nourish in our bodies and get to a place of healthiness so we don't have to go through a lot of the ailments and that we're dealing with today with a lot of our moms, like the diabetes and the hypertension during pregnancy and anemia and all of that. Like, get to a point of knowing your body and respecting and honoring your body and your well-being now. For aspiring midwives, hard days will come. They're promised, but with those hard days, you do have those good moments. Along with the hard days that are promised, those good days are promised as well. So if you're in that season of just one slam after the next person coming to you, and all of that, hold on to those good moments in that, because it's just a season. And then you'll go to that, joy and having fun in that again, and then again it's going to go back down to that season. So knowing that, I would say that.
What's a phrase or affirmation you would like to send to a new mom or a mom that already has children that she could carry in her heart during the postpartum?
I say this a lot to the young girls that I teach reproductive health to. And it's something that I think moms can go to too. If we want to change for the betterment of our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, granddaughters, I should say, we have to start working on ourselves and our daughters today, because it's going to take a generation and a half to sit there and actually change something for the betterment. So if I want my great-granddaughter to have a successful life and marriage and have a pregnancy with no complications and all that, I need to sit there and start working on my health and my well-being and my wellness, my mental health and all that. I need to start working on that, and I need to start working on that on my children now, because they carry everything. And then to even put it in a scientific manner, our fetuses are carrying the eggs already, so that sit there and ties into that generational trauma. Like, that's scientific.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes, it is.
So that is something that I tell the young girls, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" I would tell the moms also, especially the moms that are having daughters.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Before we close, I want to make sure our listeners know how they can stay connected with you, follow your work, or support the powerful things you're doing in the birth and beyond. Can you share where that people can find you? Whether that's a website, if you have a website, social media, or ways to connect with your services?
Yeah, so currently I am a staff midwife with Pea Midwifery in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Well, Dallas, Rockwall, in that area. I go to Fort Worth, not my partner. And you can find us at sweetpeamidwifery.com. Same thing with Instagram. And then on my actual Instagram is midwife_Tabby. And then I also have a private practice that I take just, my specials. I take my specials, maybe one or two, every couple of months, and that under Woven Tapestry Midwifery. So you can find that on Facebook and that.
Okay. Thank you. I'll definitely will be including your details in the description. My heart is full after this conversation. Today we were reminded that being a midwife is not just about birth. It's about life, legacy, and sacred connection between my body, mind, and spirit. So thank you, Tabby, for being here, for pouring out your wisdom, your heart, and your story. To every listener, whether you are a mother, a daughter, a future midwife, or someone simply holding space for women in your life, may you leave this episode knowing that your voice matters, your body is powerful, and your mental health is sacred. Remember, healing doesn't happen in isolation. Just as birth requires a circle of care, so does this journey of motherhood and womanhood. So take a breath, lean into your support, and know you are never walking this road alone. This has been She's in Session. Until next time, keep catching life, keep honoring your own strength, and keep rising rooted in purpose and peace. This session may be over, but the journey is just the beginning.